My name is Michael Vassar. I'm the president of the Singularity Institute for Artificial Intelligence, basically an organization that was set up to try to work out the difficulties and solutions for them to making artificial intelligence that does not, in fact, kill all of us. This seems to be a fairly hard problem, but probably an achievable problem, and hey, we may as well try. Okay, so basically, my position is hard takeoff is a relative term. You know, some people might expect the first humanly intelligent AI to, you know, some people might expect approximate AI intelligence to rise through the human range from below, you know, from the bottom of the range of biologically normal humans to the top of that range over a period of days. Other people might expect it to take decades. But I'm casually going to see about a year as a line, but I would really be happy to change that to a month or any period of time that people would want to suggest as less than the minimum for post hoc reaction. It doesn't really matter to me in practice how long a takeoff takes. The key distinction is whether people are able to, you know, biological humans responding at biological time rates are able to respond to it in an effective manner. You know, so if you imagine that the government is going to have security agencies that are set up monitoring the web somehow because they expect this to happen, and these mechanisms will be effective, and that they're going to plan a universal nuclear strike to knock out the internet or something as soon as they see evidence of such a thing, then we could say hard takeoff would have to be less than an hour, less than 20 minutes. But I think from a practical perspective, that seems very, very unlikely. I think it's just utterly inconsistent with everything I know about human institutions to suggest that that sort of a response would happen, would be pre-organized, whatever. So I'm going to talk about periods similar to an electoral cycle or similar to a year or even a business quarter. By default, I don't differentiate them that much in my analysis and say that I don't think that people can take concerted effort in even less than 5 years to respond to a really major new change in the basic human condition, and I certainly don't think that they can do it in 5 weeks. Robin talks about growth modes. We didn't have concerted effort by the world's hunter-gatherers to stomp out the agricultural people when rumor had it on the trade routes. And there have been trade routes across Europe and Asia for tens of thousands of years. But when rumor popped up that there were people doing this new scary stuff agriculture, we did not have huge throngs of hunter-gatherers converging to stomp them out. And when rumor had it that there were these people up in England and the Netherlands doing this industry stuff, you didn't have Zheng Hui, or however you pronounce his name, sending up a battle fleet and wiping out the Netherlands and England before it got out of hand. So, all right. I think that is a definitional issue. Now, from a practical perspective, if we expect that we can create systems that are about as intelligent as we are, and we expect that these things can be mass-produced, you know, mass-produced fairly cheaply, probably, fairly quickly. I mean, maybe it takes $1 million worth of hardware at first, but $1 million to duplicate a venture capitalist who has just created a company with, you know, a massively effective new technology, this seems like a very easy buy. Even at $10 or $50 million, it would almost certainly be market rational. I mean, and I don't believe in rational markets, but market rational even by the joke of that passes for rationality in the actual market, to you know, to put in tens of millions of dollars to duplicate someone who was able to make such events, and in fact, to put in hundreds of millions of dollars to duplicate them running many times faster than the real thing also seems pretty clearly worthwhile. So usually the basic insights of a technology that get it up to usable performance are harder than moderate incremental improvements to double, triple, quadruple that performance. You know, it took a lot longer, as Aubrey de Grey likes to talk about, to get into the air in terms of, effort aimed at designing flying machines, then it took a lot longer to get something that would stay in the air for a couple minutes than it did to get from a couple minutes to traveling between cities. And by that time it was hugely economically valuable, and travel across the Atlantic took, another few decades, basically. Basically, if refining a machine like a car a little bit does not greatly increase your ability to make your next refinement steps, you run into diminishing returns as refining the design of a car becomes more difficult, and you don't become proportionately better at making improvements. Refining a mind that's used to design minds should tend to create increasing returns. But so long as the rate at which you can improve its abilities, refine it further, is at least comparable in speed to the rate at which the design challenges grow, you should expect improvements to come with increasing speed. As long as Robin talks about a burning the common scenario, where competition between AIs or advanced people leads to the destruction of, let's say realistically, examoles of dollars worth of assets in wasteful competition, trying to accelerate probes out to the edge of the universe. When you have a net present value of examoles of dollars, it seems like it would be a good idea, based on any sort of economic calculation, to rather than releasing your technology and facing competition, to try to refine it internally, plow early results such as successes in small design problems which its cognitive abilities are specifically well matched to create moderate amounts of wealth that can be plowed back into your operation, and maybe try to find other competitors who you can cooperate with initially. Adam Smith: seldom do two people of the common profession meet, even for purposes of recreation, but that they conspire to defraud the public. Well, here you go. We all meet here, pretty regularly, and if we're coming closer, we would expect there to be lots of conferences, and the best people in the field would expect to know each other. And if people have really outstanding results, and reasonably good reason to, we might reasonably expect them to be able to conspire to defraud the public, in other words, not releasing their products for at least a little while. People can cooperate on prisoner's dilemmas, repeated prisoner's dilemmas on occasion. It has been known to happen, especially among the sort of people who have the abilities to execute long-term projects like building an AI in the first place and acquiring the human capital to do so. So I really see very little probability for AI developing so many places within a year or two of one another, unless it's developing in different linguistic traditions. And I don't see much history of that for cooperation not to be possible. I mean, the US and the Soviets were different language groups, different scientific communities, and there was a few-year gap between us getting nuclear weapons and they're getting nuclear weapons, between us getting hydrogen bombs, us getting space travel, them getting hydrogen bombs. They got space travel first, So a few years is plenty of time in refining a technology that can be used to make more money on the internet by doing various sorts of jobs. There exist already websites where you can buy server time from Amazon, and there exist websites where you can sell solutions to problems faced by chemical engineering companies and other companies. I guess I would recommend a book, Wikinomics, for a lot of detail on this sort of thing. But there are lots of services which can be bought and sold over the internet, and lots of places on the internet to buy computing power. So as long as it's possible to buy computing power on server farms, perform services, plow the profits back into buying more computing power, you should be able to make a reasonable amount of internal profit, grow internally, find competitors, maybe have the AI read through the literature and learn other languages, read through the literature if it's good at that sort of thing. Use Google Fish and put up with irritation that you wouldn't be able to put up with your human emotions at reading Google Fish, and figure out who were the for potentially risky competitors. There just seem to be so many ways for converting a small lead in AI into a large lead that it seems preposterous to discount the possibility to a low level. And even if the probability is only, if you were only going to put the probability at 10% or 20%, and I would put it at more like 95 or 98, and that's after reading Kahneman and Tversky and testing myself on large numbers of probability distributions. So, these numbers actually mean 95% or 98% compared to other guesses that I've made, as opposed to meaning 6 out of 10. Anyway, so even if there was only a 10% chance, it seems like it would be something worth trying to do and worth paying attention to. And also I would say casually that it seems like not just a 10% chance of this, but I don't really see any reasonably positive outcomes for humanity that don't happen in this manner. Or the Robbins and my definition of positive are somewhat different. We can both accuse one another of wishful thinking, I suppose. We can both accuse, I can accuse him of taking the outside view, he can accuse me of taking the inside view. But I think it's fair to give him a chance to talk.